Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Dota Trash King of the Hill. My name is Gorgon the Wonder Cow, and I'm bringing this to you with my good... Nice to have you back.
Yeah, already showing some exciting NA Dota, and looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Sneaky Nyx Assassins in game number 1 got really absolutely decimated by a global strategy. They were worried about the negative armor strats potential coming out of North American Rejects. They maybe should have been a little bit more worried about that global strategy, as it was literally picking off supports in their base by the end. That Snipe, Ice Blast, Wrath of Nature combo. Sneaky Nyx Assassins are going to grab an old standby for them, the Clockwork for IX Mike, and hopefully they're going to be coming into game 2 with a little bit more of a clear head on their shoulders. They're normally very aggressive in the early game, and last game they just kind of fell back, played a less than in meta, a less than expected draft, and really were punished for it.
Yeah. Still, I mean, we're going to see some potential movement with this Clockwork to maybe have some range of initiation, the potential to turn the early game into a more successful mid game. The Centaur just didn't seem to fit them, but of course, that being said, North American Rejects are pretty happy to be able to pick that one up themselves. So, in this state, what do you think happened with that Centaur that made it so difficult for him to be impactful? Was it the global strats making it so that whenever he initiated he was half dead? Is it the fact that he had such a rough laning phase? I'm not too sure.
So I will tell you exactly what I think it was. Not only was it the global strat through the mid game, but really what it comes down to, I think, is the fact that North American Rejects picked an offlaner who could go to the jungle. Centaur Warrunner couldn't. That opened up additional avenues of farm for North American Rejects. On top of the fact that they were grabbing solid kills, the Centaur Warrunner had nowhere to go. They already didn't have enough lanes for everybody. That Earthshaker, played by Fluff and stuff, had nowhere to go himself. And so Centaur Warrunner couldn't retire into a safe lane to grab farm. He could not grab that Blink Dagger, which means he couldn't be doing the early game initiating that he was expecting to do. And that threw him behind so significantly that he was basically a non-factor through the bulk of the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that sentiment. And now, I think that they're kind of putting Centaur in a better position in this game here. I mean, yes, they're up against the Clockworks, Rocket Flare, and Ice Blast Global, but that's really something that he shrugs off. As long as his Blink isn't immediately put on cooldown, now he has a Dazzle to back him up. He can go ahead, get a Shallow Grave, get a heal, no problem at all, and he can actually get very aggressive. We've actually seen drafters like Galblack actually couple a Dazzle and an Abaddon with him so that he can immediately break a Photic Shield for some insane AoE nuke damage. But that's only if they're running maybe a core Centaur. In this case, it's much more probable to be the offlane, and yeah, they still have the viability of making sure that he will be able to stay on his feet and still play very aggressively without many repercussions. So Sneaky Nyx Assassins are really, again, with this draft, they are the ones that have to make things happen, because already, just baseline, it seems like the North American Rejects have something a little bit better going for them.
So, Clockwork up against Centaur Warrunner in terms of having those both as offlaners works better in favor of Sneaky Nyx Assassin, because neither of those heroes have strong avenues of outward farm. But Clockwork can farm a little bit globally with his Rocket Flare. He can also do a little bit in the jungle with the Rocket Flare without worrying about being picked off. Meanwhile, if Centaur Warrunner goes into the jungle for stacks, he's got to use that double edge. If there's wards up, he will very likely be taken down, especially if that AA is paying attention with that Ice Blast. So I like the Clockwork pickup for Sneaky Nyx Assassins in the face of the Centaur Warrunner being grabbed as well, although Sneaky Nyx Assassins may not have been aware of that when they picked it up. The Dazzle works very well with Centaur, though, and this is something a little concerning, I think, for Sneaky Nyx Assassins as we move forward. Centaur Warrunner is going to be able to get out at least one extra double edge thanks to that Shallow Grave. He's going to be able to potentially get away, throw down another stun, and in order to make sure that he does not regen while the Grave's up, you have to attack him and take a whole ton of return damage while doing so.
Yeah, so now we're going to have to see how SNA want to respond. They've chewed through so much bonus time here. They picked some snowball-y solo mid heroes to ban out, Korok's signature Storm Spirit and Templar Assassin. But as far as the follow-through here, they're just going to get the Crystal Maiden, kind of an ice combo with CM and AA. They can do some Frostbite Cold Feet, lock people in position pretty well, but it's going to be mostly just the fact that they're two 600 range heroes with some good disables that can deal a lot of damage with that chilling touch. But up against a hero like Nyx Assassin, like, it's still somebody that's very difficult to bring down. You get reflected very easily with that Spike Carapace. If you get his boots first, it's really hard to pin him down, but that's if he's running the offlane. If he's just running a support role, then he's going to be more emphasizing just the fact that you have to pay the support tax, dropping down Sentry Wards just to see him coming. He can deal out a large amount of damage with his Vendetta to low armor heroes like AA and Crystal Maiden. And then, of course, an intellect base, so intelligence heroes always take more damage from mana burn.
Yeah, Sneaky Nyx Assassin's grabbing two of the most damage outputting early game heroes in the game with the AA and the Crystal Maiden. There are a few heroes that can go toe-to-toe with them in terms of their ability to command a lane, and all really a global pre-6 command. Just because that Crystal Maiden can go into the jungle and farm indefinitely thanks to that Frostbite. And the AA is going to be able to follow her around for some additional damage output and some additional experience for the both of them being able to get through those camps faster. That means that there's going to be 0 supports on the map as far as North American rejects are concerned, making everybody play, in theory, a little bit closer to the chest. That gives Sneaky Nyx Assassins a little bit more room for maneuvering, a little bit more room for laning, and possibly some more room for aggression, which is, like I've said all day long, their modus operandi. So expect Sneaky Nyx Assassins to come into this game a lot more aggressive than they came into last game. I don't know what they were doing last game, but it was not SNA play.
Yeah, exactly. And just didn't feel like they were really on the mark. The coordination, the communication wasn't there, and they really need to make sure it counts this time around, because there aren't really that many second chances. The way they played against the puck, especially, was a very punishing hero to go up against, but still, that if you give an opening for a Nyx Assassin to Carapace, that's a lot of reflected damage when you consider Chilling Touch. You got the Centaur War Runner who can get out of a bad situation pretty well with a good Stomp, with a good Stampede, and of course that Shallow Grave. Any room where they can get a Shallow off and turn the fight around, it's going to be very difficult to come back from that, because they have a lot of kind of coup de grace heroes. They dish out a huge amount of damage on a quick burst with Invoker or Ancient Apparition, but after that, having somebody stay up for 5 more seconds because of the Shallow Grave really, really makes it difficult. So they have the heroes that have a ton of potential to bring down the current North American Rejects lineup, but they have to be on point with it. They have to be coordinated, and they have to be on top of their game.
Yeah, Sneaky Nyx Assassins, one of the things that I'm concerned about with their overall draft is that if that is a Quaswex Invoker, as I expect it will be, which will allow for those Tornado, EMP, along with the Ice Blast combinations, you know, especially if you go ahead and throw in that Clockwork Cogs in the middle of it, really, really decimates the team. Gives them great initiation, counter initiation. What they don't have is Tower Siege. They don't have the persistent DPS through the early and mid game to easily take towers, which means every tower they have to take down, they have to slow siege. They've got great lane push, but in terms of actually knocking down buildings, Sneaky Nyx Assassins don't have too much of anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really concerning.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, if he went for the Exhort, obviously there's a Forge Spirit option, but if he tends towards that Wex, he doesn't really have anything going for them, and that requires them to pick up a more push-oriented carry to deal with this. Now, they still have the Weaver available in the pool for now. North American Rejects probably going to ban that out, but it's possible they leave it in. Either way, they really just need something that can do a lot of damage to towers, because that's a benefit that they've expressed in early games with the Shadow Shaman pickups that they don't have here. When they have Whitebeard on the Shadow Shaman, when they put him in the mid for SNA, it usually works out where they have 2 towers by 10 minutes. And in this case, like you said, they really don't have any of that, and that's going to be difficult, because the more map control that we see from North American Rejects, the more opportunity for like a blinking in Centaur War Runner with a Nyx inside. It's just like a surprise party for Crystal Maiden that she really doesn't want.
So the Nevermore or Shadow Fiend, excuse me, is going to be banned out here, as Sneaky Nyx Assassins are looking at a potential mid laner coming out. That's a pretty solid pick. The combination of the negative armor along with the Dazzle and a potential for a Blink Dagger to allow for the bombs coming with the Lifestealer does make that a very terrifying potential. Sneaky Nyx Assassins are going to get an Ursa, and we could very, very well be looking at a level 1 Roshan attempt here.
I don't think so. Invoker is the worst hero to have at a level 1 fight. CM and Ancient Apparition don't lend much to it. Honestly, Ursa's the only hero.
Can get that. So, well, you can lift off the Lincoln Sphere. You can get that nice long stun going out onto Roshan, along with the Chilling Touch and the rotating. I agree that the Invoker's not great, but the Sneaking Assassins, especially considering the fact that they lost a game to EG this weekend because of, or not because of, but largely because of a level 1 Roshan loss, I think it might be on their minds.
Yeah. It's definitely nothing to count out when you have an Ursa on the field, but I think that it would be pretty easily scouted by something like a Mirana Arrow or something along those lines. Right now, Ush just farming up on the Ursa to deal with the Lifestealer most effectively with that raw physical damage that he can't become immune to. I think that that's going to be the prime thing here, and it's going to be important when he times gets his BKB and things along those lines. And of course, once they get to maybe 8 to 10 minutes into the game, when they have a Vlad's or they have something to tank it up, I think Roche is extremely viable since they do have that dire advantage. But
I don't necessarily think that they're going to be able to go in and get it, but it's something that North American Rejects need to be aware of. I do expect that Mirana to run around down toward the Roche pit and throw in that Sacred Arrow just to be safe. But more likely, I think, just knowing Sneaky Nyx Assassin's overall game plan, what they'll probably do is rotate around down here, put up this counter ward and this vision ward for Ike's Mike, and then send their tri-laners up this way. But it's certainly something that North American Rejects has to be aware of, right? And we can actually see them. They're going to smoke up right around here. Boom. No smoke coming. Don't make a fool out of me. Come on, there it is. Yep. Fluff and stuff going to pop that smoke. They're going to rotate down. This is what they do every single game. Literally every single game. Maybe North American Rejects are wise to it, but it doesn't seem like they are, as KOTH is coming down here with just fun. And expect the Sacred Arrow to be thrown out into the Roche pit here as well.
Yeah, most likely that. Of course, then he won't have the leap available, so if they can get a catch out, that could be a really big deal, trying to get the first blood available, and maybe even forcing Fan to skill Shallow Grave at level 1, but the smoke dispels, the pings are frantic, and they won't be able to close the distance, so they will get the wards out, as you mentioned, but as far as first blood, that's not really on the table.
Yeah, they're actually going to have to back out here. SNA is walking right into KOTH, who's scouting him out from the high ground. They will have to back out a little surreptitiously as some more heroes are rotating in here from North American Rejects on the Radiant side. But all things said and done, the warding goes up, and Ike's Mike should have the vision that he feels like he needs in order to rock out on that Clockwork. Speaking of Ike's Mike on the Clockwork, we're also going to have SNA taking that Invoker. We've got Fluff and Stuff chilling out on the Ancient Apparition with Ush on the Farming Ursa, and of course, Whitebeard is going to be walking around on that Crystal Maiden. Why don't you go ahead and take the North American Rejects?
North American Rejects, we do see that it's going to be Brax running on the Lifestealer, currently in the offlane. I believe that's there to stay. We do see KOTH throwing out an arrow on Ike's Mike, and this should be first blood, maybe. Depends on the body blocks, but Mike in a bad spot here.
Oh, the Impale does go out. Mike probably going to get away from this, actually. No body blocks, or not enough body blocks coming out of that Nyx Assassin, which is strange. So he has a very long base model. So does Mirana. Both of their models are pretty long and easy to do those side-to-side body blocks, but not able to get it, but are able to force Mike to use his regen very, very early on in this laning phase, which is not a good sign for his potential later on. Oh, this is really clever, actually, what is happening up here from Brax. Whitebeard is trying to get rid of this illusion because Brax is making it seem like it's being blocked. The camp is being blocked, when it's actually being blocked by a ward.
No, that's a Dire Ward. They placed it far enough to the west.
Okay. And here's that jungling that we were talking about. These guys are going to be moving around to some of these camps. As we do see, Brax is doing, what is this? Off lane, Lifestealer solo, and then the farming safe lane. Mirana?
Yeah, Mirana should be.
That is not how I would have expected. I would have expected that the exact opposite. The Mirana taking the off lane and the Lifestealer to take the safe lane farm.
It is kind of surprising, but when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Brax, the Rage State, will nullify Frostbite, will ignore Chilling Touch. It's the hero that can survive most effectively against these guys. Maybe Juggernaut could debatably sustain more with Healing Ward, but honestly, the Lifestealer is a smart pickup for team fights later, and this is a great place to lane him in this position. It's kind of what DK used to do about like 3 patches ago when they went for their Tri-Core lineup. But yeah, beyond that, we are seeing that the supports on North American Rejects are doing a lot better than we expected, and it's because of this dewarding. They had a smiley face at the beginning. It's because they were dewarding the 2 wards that you've been talking about for the past couple games. They put wards consistently. If you do your research, you can find out exactly how to take care of those, and we do see, as a result, they're able to manipulate that tri-pull of the Radiant jungle.
Oh, in the top, Brax is going to have to back out here with that Rage. But as you were saying, that Rage is so very effective. The one thing that Rage is not really going to be helping out with is the fact that the Frostbite landing down on him before he manages to get that Rage up could be absolutely devastating, whereas the Mirana usually is going to be able to leap away right after that. The physical DPS coming out of that Ursa is not something to shake a stick at.
A lot of back and forth on the mid lane as well. We do see Snaking on the Centaur is doing his best against Invoker, but he's not really the best hero to be built for it. The return damage is substantial, but SNA is just restoring up with the Quas, and he hits pretty hard with this Exhort. So in this position here, it's going to take a gank to come in to really help him out, but they've got the pings, they've got the vision. It's not like Brax is carrying around a smoke at a seed or anything. So he is going to be just meandering back towards the top lane as soon as he actually gets access to a creep wave.
Yeah, he will be moving back up here and needs to get a fair amount of farm. That Lifestealer, here's the thing though. Without a decent amount of core items, at least getting up like the traditional, drum or treads and armlet or something, he's not really that frightening at all. So as an offlaner, he's kind of an issue. The Mirana has that nice long arrow, so if she does end up getting a little out-farmed, or she does end up falling behind, she's still able to assert herself in the mid-game with good placement of those Sacred Arrows. There's nothing like that the Lifestealer has, other than potentially the element of surprise coming out of his Infest.
Well, the way DK used to do it is they had a very aggressive mid-game carry, like Mirana, for example, that would get the farm early in the laning phase, and then maybe 6 or 7 minutes in, they would rotate the Lifestealer into the #1 farming role. He would make up for lost time sitting on the safe lane very conveniently, and then Mirana would be the one active across the map. So we'll see maybe Mirana roaming around the 6 or 7 minute mark with phase boots, some mana sustainability, and just try to make her mark on the map once Centaur is ready to go as well.
I'm sure once that Moonlight Shadow comes out, along with some upgraded boots, that is exactly what we'll see. We'll probably see Brax rotate down into this bottom lane where he can actually farm a little bit safer. SNA still just happy to take basically free farm from this Ursa onto the top lane, and he's now a full 10 ahead of the Mirana in terms of his last hits, doing very well up there, as the Invoker is also doing pretty well in his lane. He's going actually toe-to-toe with the Centaur Warrunner.
Yep, with the help of the Bottle Crow, he's able to continuously spam out this stun, and even if it's only to get 1 CS, it's worth it, because it's a pretty mana-efficient spell. 85 mana for a single level 1 Hoof Stomp. It's worked out pretty well, so he's about to find his level 6, and although the lane, I would say, is very disadvantageous for him, he's still able to make it work for him, and this means that he's going to be able to jump in pretty soon, and because there's no Wex, the Invoker, a 2 versus 1 gank, that could be very devastating for him. For now, though, we do see Brax moving to the jungle, and he's going to make up his farm with a little bit of feast on those mud golems.
The Exhort style coming out of this Invoker makes a lot of sense to me. During the draft, especially the early portions of the draft, it did look like that was going to be a Quas Wax. However, the Exhort does give them that tower siege that they need with the Forged Spirits, the Ursa on top of that, and the Cold Snap actually going out on coaches here. He is going to get pretty low, but he will be able to get away. It's giving SNA complete control of his lane once again. Oh no, there's the Stampede. It's going to come in. He tries to throw down that Ice Vault, but it's not going to be enough. That is going to be the kill. First blood going the way of Nyx Assassin.
Very smooth move there. Just the 4-man movement. They had the smoke up. They were baiting him into the river with the Cold Snap play, and first Stampede of the day will net the first blood, setting back Invoker substantially. Well, Mirana has a perfectly fine time soloing 1v1 against Clockwork. I mean, if a Clockwork feels pressured, usually he just has a knee-jerk reaction to drop down the cogs, but that pretty much puts a target on his back for the Mirana Sacred Arrow. So really, there's no safe place for him. He can't really put pressure out on her directly. And on the mid lane, if you don't have the perfect warding to respond to these situations, an Exhort Invoker is easy pickings.
Yep, and of course the Exhort Invoker here in the mid lane, as we saw, has gone down once. He was probably going to be rotated in on again here as Coaches gets up his Blink Dagger. He's got a regen rune bottled right now, so he's going to let himself get really low in the jungle. But this whole time, Ursa's still free farming. We're sitting at almost 7 minutes. He's got almost 50 last hits, so he's getting pretty close to a perfect score here in terms of his CS. Fluff and Stuff is only in the lane enough to harass out whatever offlaner is available. At this point in time, it is the Nyx Assassin up there with that Carapace, who is a pretty solid offlaning option up against this general squad. And Crystal Maintenance rotating the mid lane as, Centaur does go down. Very, very nice play and rotation coming out of Whitebeard. I was just about to say, as that was going on, as we should see some rotations coming out of Whitebeard out of the jungle. So,
yep. I mean, it's the perfect time window, honestly. Like, the Stampede was not available just yet, and right now he's only sitting on 4 armor, so a few hits from the Forge Spirit, and he's taking essentially pure damage. And that was good, very necessary movement to make sure the Centaur doesn't find an absurd blink timing.
And not only that, but the nighttime is about to end, which means that this is the opportune time to get in your last hits on your heroes. So, Ush still sitting up here, getting pretty much free farm. Presumably, we're going to see him try. Oh, up in the top, there's going to be the Centaur coming in, and Ush is going to come in as well. He throws down the Fury Swipes on everybody, but he's not able to output any damage as AA does shatter. And, yeah, that's 2-1 going the way of North American Rejects, but they're not done. 1-4-3-7 is going to come in here. This is going to be the pickle. As Ush tries to get away, the Impale goes out. That's going to land. The Stomp is also going to come out of the Centaur, the Double Edge, and one last auto attack. Nyx Assassin going to grab that kill, meaning a 2-for-0 trade going the way in the top lane. So there are the rotations onto that Ursa that we were waiting for. He does, however, he did get his Vlad set before he went down there.
Okay. But we still just see the weakness coming through for the Ursa in general. It's that he can be so easily kited at the early stages of the game, and usually that's through disables, but in this case it's just through enhancing the movement speed of his target of choice. Getting that Stampede out, he can't stay on a single target, and because of the fact that the Lifestealer isn't the core that he needs to bring down, it's not the #1 carry with all the farm on his shoulders, it actually seems like they incidentally made Ursa a bad pick, just based on how they laned it and the fact that they had the Centaur available from the first stage. Ike Spike gonna drop down.
Gonna go down.
Yeah, doesn't even need the arrow. Just the threat of the arrow is all that he needs to really set up that kill. Having the leap, having the Star Storm do so much damage, but they're pinging it out. They need to make a move on to the Roche pit, and the arrow will fly.
And that is going to hit Roche. It's not going to hit us. It's Brax. Oh, he throws up the rage, but the Fury Stripes still going to wreck him. Now, Kurok is coming in and doing that kiting that we were talking about with the open wounds. It's enough. Kurok does have a leap in 3 seconds. There's going to be the Stampede and turnaround. Now, Ush is going to try to go away. The Vision drops down 1-4-3-7. It's going to be frozen in places. Ush is going to take that Star Storm. He's now going to. Oh, the Impale misses. He's going to turn around and grab Brax. Now he's coming in, but the Sacred Arrow is going to come in and secure that kill. Snog coming in with the Exhort. He's going to throw the slowdown at Kurok. Kurok is going to be frozen in place by Whitebeard. He will probably go down. Now, the Dazzle's trying to get away. Fun is on the run, and they do manage to grab a 3-for-1 exchange there. Oh, as Centaur Warrunner manages to grab the AA up top. So, globally a 3-for-2, and that engagement 3-for-1, and Roshan is still standing and waiting for that Ursha to respond.
Yeah, a very nice back and forth, but Sna really making that Invoker worth the pick. The Cold Snap coming through with so many heroes to support it, and then a great Ice Wall as well on the Mirana after Leap was used. It just was the perfect time to use that combo of abilities, and with just a small spell arsenal, with just having those 4 different abilities there, he was able to make so much happen. So I do like the fact that he was able to do so much with just this standard Forge Spirit build, no Wex at all, and I can't wait to see what he can do once he kind of has the full instrument at his disposal. But for now, we'll see Ush roshing it up, and I don't think that American Rejects have a way to stop this.
Yeah, they're going to move in. They were pinging it out. They obviously know that Ush is going to move immediately into the Roshan pit as soon as he responds, and he did come down. The smoke is up on to 2 of them. They are going to drop the Vision. The counter ward comes out here, getting prepared for the Moonlight Shadow retreat if they need it, or initiation. The cogs go down, but not effectively. Whitebeard's now going to try to counter ward their counter ward, but not be effective as that ward goes down as well. The open wound's going down on Whitebeard. There's the Moonlight Shadow and the Stampede. It looks like Snot's going to be the first to drop down, and some auto attacks go out on him. They're very wisely not going to use any spells on him after that initial stun, just saving them up for the battle that is to come. Now, Sneaking Assassins are forced to back out. They move into the Roshan pit, or the North American Rejects did move into the Roshan pit, expecting Ursa to be there, but he very wisely pulled himself out. The AOL is going to come in, but it's not going to land on anyone. And this is probably going to be another one of these really extended Roshan scenes that we often see with a Ursa team. Here we go. The stun misses. Coming out here. No, it is going to land as Whitebeard manages to grab. Coach is going to go down. The hookshot comes in for Ice Mike. 1-4-3-17, very low from the auto attack. The weave goes out, however. The Forge Spear is trying to attack through the up ground. Are going to provide vision as the entire Snot squad tries to retreat to grab Roshan. Ursa is just going to stand in the pit by himself. This is kind of questionable. He's trying to bait something out. Now Brax just going to walk into it, and he gets wrecked. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking, just kind of wandering in by himself. He thought that the opponents were on the run, but they were just waiting outside of vision for that to happen.
Yeah, honestly, the performance on the underfarm lifestealer hasn't been nearly as substantial as his Nature's Prophet was. It's just right here, he used his rage and his open wounds very prematurely in that fight, got nothing out of it, and then the back and forth, he didn't contribute anything. So the end result is now feeding his life away. Ancient Apparition will drop down to the Nyx with the help of the Centaur, but otherwise, they get the Roche, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, Sneaky Nyx Assassins, for the first time in a while, managed to pull the gold lead in their favor, although it is negligible at this moment. About 0 in both gold and experience at the 12-minute mark. Mirana is getting very close to her Yasha. In fact, she has it as soon as she gets to Courier. The Urn is going to go up on the Dazzle. And, of course, Invoker has been sitting on that Midas for a little while now. I think, 3 uses? So we are looking at SNA a little bit stronger performance through this mid-game than they had last time. They are sitting down 2 kills, but in terms of overall map control, at the moment, it seems like they have it.
Yeah, so surprisingly, they really have pulled this through, getting some solo experience on the Ancient Apparition, so he has the Ice Blast. The last one in the Roche fight was very difficult to aim, but he still tried his best. But in this case here, it's just it's going to be more substantial the closer he is to the fight. We do see that the tower's pushing deny range, and they will engage on Invoker. Pretty easy pickings, considering all they committed to this.
Yeah, Whitebeard's going to come in and throw at that nice little nuke to try and dissuade them. But there's a hookshot coming out of Ice Mike, and he's going to move in. He throws out those the battery assault. I don't know why Ice Mike engaged on that, to be honest. I don't know what he thought he was going to be able to do in the middle of 4 who were mostly at full health. Does buy some time for the Ursa to manage to knock down this top tower with Bright, though. So Fluff and Stuff and Ush making it happen. Trading a tower in for an engagement here with the Invoker did go down. And he immediately teleports down to this bottom lane. He grabs his Blink Dagger, and he's ready to initiate on KOTH if he wants to. KOTH's got that leap, though. 4
points in leap. He has committed so hard to disengaging from this. Ush is ready, but I don't think he can kill him fast enough. Here comes the leap, and he will be out. Baited in.
All right, there's some damage going out on Brax. The First Wife's doing an amazing amount, and he's actually going to jump inside the Mirage. The Sunstrike's there. Oh, wow. That was, from my angle, that was on the line. That was very, very close, and that would have been devastating for KOTH. With that AA ult still having a little second for the killing, Whitebeard's going to be moved on a little bit with that Sacred Arrow, but he's just going to dodge it. And the big defense is mounting down here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that Blink Dagger going to be an important item in the next few moments. We do see Ice Blast coming through, but not going to hit anybody into defensive weave to keep him up.
All right, there's going to be the Impale going out on Ush, and Invoker is going to throw out that Sunstrike, but the Rage is going to protect Brax. The Aegis is going to drop his 1437 now, trying to back out. He's going to be healed as the Ush does come back up. Ush is now going to get the additional Chilling Touch. He's going to throw down that stun, but he will miss with it. The stun tried to come out, but the Frozen from that Cold Snap off of the Invoker does cause his death. Ice Mike's going to drop those cogs in the middle of the fight, prevent Brax from re-engaging here as Fun throws out the slow into Sna. Sna's going to be chased in. The vision goes down, and Fun getting a little too far ahead. He's got the Grave if he needs it as Ursa comes in the back lines, grants himself a kill. He's going to throw down that stomp, and he's moving on Brax now. He stuns himself on 1437, but the AA ult is going to come in and wipe out that Lifestealer, and the Nyx Assassin Dazzle getting away with 25 health, but the rest of his team going back to the fountain the hard way.
Yeah, Ice Blast making it work. The Agelessly Immortal, very, very important there. If they lost Ursa, that fight's over, but because they were constantly running, constantly trying to kite this bear, they were being herded, essentially, by him into a small enclosed space where they could dish out their AoE damage. So, despite the fact that we haven't seen a single freezing field yet, we've seen some great damage from the Crystal Nova of Whitebeard, and these Rocket Flares are actually being spammed out quite a bit, too. Ice Mike is skilled 214 right now, and now has finished up his 4-staff, so he really is just trying to go with his team to dish out all the AoE damage they can, and Ush is facilitating that, even though he hasn't had the most directive impact.
Yeah, Snaking's still working on his Blink Dagger, and he in fact could have bought his Blink Dagger before he died there, I believe, but didn't do it. He's only 20 gold away. He's got it. Just buy it now. Buy it now before you get ganked. They're coming for you. Snaking. Okay, there it is. I'm worried for him. If he lost it again, that would be devastating to his team. The Ice Blast is going to come in along with some basic DPS. The Weave goes down, trying to protect him with the Grave, and that is going to hold him up for a little while, but will it be long enough?
No, there's no way to get him back up. Yeah. Once you hit the kill zone, the only way Shallow Grave will save you from Ice Blast is if it's within the last 5 seconds of the Ice Blast debuffs. Unfortunate for him. I guess if you're Weaver, that'll work too, but...
Yeah, there's the tower coming in now, getting ready to drop another tower. This is going to be the first tier 2 of the game. Meanwhile, Sneaking Nyx Assassin still holding on to all of their tier 1. So they are basically playing this exactly the same way that it was played against them in terms of getting that early game lead, really asserting themselves through it, and punishing the Centaur from not being able to get up his Blink Dagger fast enough. Whitebeard's farming out his opponent's jungle as a support. Right next to where a tier 2 tower just went down. That's how much control these guys have. He can just sit in his opponent's jungle and do whatever he wants.
Now, there was a pickoff of the Raiding Courier. Actually, Ursa pursued it to the death, and it... Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. It doesn't have anything in it. Okay, so the Dark Courier is loaded up, but this one completely empty. It just was out in no man's land, and Ursa was able to blink in on top of it, which is pretty nice. But still working on his BKB. Until then, he doesn't really have to going in by himself, and in fact, loaded up the Nyx Bomb right up to the high ground. This could be bad.
He's waiting. He doesn't realize Lifestealer's inside, or maybe he just doesn't care. The sun comes out, and Lifestealer's too scared to get in. He doesn't want to get out. The A-ult is going to come in here, and that is going to land. And the blink comes out of us, but it's not quite enough. Snaking's going to get low there, but he's probably not going to go down unless the Sunstrike lands. Sunstrike lands on Fun instead, who was not hit by the Ice Blast. So dividing out their skills a little bit there. Not able to get a kill, but... that just shows you exactly how far behind this Lifestealer and Centaur combination is.
That's like
they walked in double damage rune on the Centaur in that too. Couldn't do a thing.
That's like in the moment in the end of The Lion King where it's like, let me out, let me out. No, let me in, just get out.
That is exactly what it was like. Yeah, if only the cogs were down, that would have been everything that you wanted for a reenactment. As Miranda does grab Ursa top, they are going to push. This is going to be a tier 2 for tier 2 trade, presumably.
Yeah, that's a nice little pick-off. Finding a good series of stuns, the Vendetta into Impale. They definitely have the tools to catch him off guard since he doesn't have that BKB yet, but we'll see if it's enough as they're looking for that tier 2 trade. And there's the Ice Blast right on 1, 4, 3, 7, and Snake King. One bit of damage and Snake King's dead. But he's going to TP home, and I think he's safe. Unless they... Oh, they switch right! Yes! They get him in the well! Beautiful! From SNA!
A play. SNA making it happen. And now, that was their defense against this push. So this tower is going to lose at least a third of its health here, probably. Unless Dazzle's able to farm it out completely by himself. With the Forge Spirits and the Catapult, this damage is going to build up pretty quickly. KOTH has enough for his Ultimate Orb if he wants it, and he's been sitting on that for a while. Not getting it. He's deciding, I guess, to hang out with that Wraith Band. Casual Wraith Band OP, bro.
Yeah, I mean...
Invoker just one-stop shopping for a level 2 Necro. Why not? Just whatever. So, if that push wasn't enough, now he's got a level 2 Necro moving on level 3 pretty quickly here, I assume.
Yeah, and there's great aspects of that. Of course, the potential of Last Will to do pure damage to an opponent. The mana burn is pretty nice. Detection against Nyx. And the big thing, of course, is the push potential. With the Forge Spirits, you've got a way to trigger Cold Snap a ton. You can bring down towers so quickly. And you turn into a rat yourself if he wants to go for BOTs after his Necro 3.
Yeah. And I also do like the Necronomicon Warrior up against the Centaur Warrunner because he can't stop return from hitting stuff. So if you throw that Necronomicon Warrior on a Centaur Warrunner anywhere on the map, there's going to be an engagement coming out of Ice Mike here in the bottom front. He's going down before he had an opportunity to breathe his last breath. That was rough. And now they're going to try to move on KOTH, but he's got Leap. He's going to be able to get away, no problem, yeah. Leap into the trees, teleport out. No biggie. But yeah, so I... Get that level 3 Necronomicon Warrior up. Centaur Warrunner is a pretty tanky hero, and the problem is that he has all that health, and then he also returns damage to you. Have the Warriors auto-attack him down a little bit, and then when the return kills it, it will do pure damage to the Centaur. Take away a good third of his health right there.
So
in the mid... Oh, maybe not. What were you going to say?
Well, we're looking at a really long Roche timer right here. This is the most painful thing for Sneaking Nyx Assassin is they are all about Roche control, but you look at the timer, and it's not going to be up for almost another 2 full minutes. That's almost the maximum time, and that's something that any Ursa team is going to be in dismay over. But they're going to try to smoke, make the most of things. Another leap away, KOTH. I mean, he can only get one hit on him, essentially, and then there's either a Stampede or a Leap, and as fast as you can attack, as hard as you can hit, he just can't stay on his target for the moment. But they are smoked, and they are looking for their opening.
KOTH has only gone down twice. The Dazzle's only gone down once. And Ush is going to stand in that long Sacred Arrow. He's going to take that... Oh, wow.
Whoa.
what a leap. Ice Mike missing the hook shot, but the Dazzle is going to get himself caught out. Fun. He's going to grave himself, but it's not going to do enough. There's the weave there in case his team wants to reinitiate, but there's no way his team does. Snaking is up here trying to split push, but he's going to have to back out. He's going to do negligible damage to this tower and fall back. Dazzle getting picked off. That is the second time. So, right as I was saying, it's pretty surprising how little this Dazzle has died. He goes down again. Yeah. And the gem is up on Whitebeard. So, not only are they going to have a level 3 Necronomicon, they're right now, it's up. They also have a gem. So, Moonlight Shadow, not really a factor anymore.
Not at all. The Vendetta, it's also very dangerous to scout out with it whatsoever. So they're relying on their current ward situation, but it's so easy to de-ward. With Gem, with Necro, they're going to be able to take out these wards because they're on flat ground. And that's just 100 gold in your pocket as well as complete map dominance. And it's actually getting pretty scary for North American rejects. In this position, they have carries who can take it to the late game, but one thing I want to comment on while we still have a quick moment is the pickup of Armlet, a Meridian, versus an Ancient Apparition. Yes, it's a good item on Lifestealer, and by golly, it is a terrible item against an Ancient Apparition. If you get Ice Blasted at all, we're going to see some damage on Mike.
The top Ice Blast is going to be moved on here, not to interrupt you, but the stun is going to come out. He's going to try to force that himself away, but
that
it
auto
will go
attack.
down. Yeah.
It's like the longest auto attack you can imagine. But, meanwhile, they get a deny on bottom, so, I mean,
yeah, not
one way
the
or
worst trade in the world. I mean, Ice Mike is a big player in this game, but he has basically everything he needs in order to be effective. He's working on his Ganoms, but the Force Staff along with the hook shot is what he needs in order to initiate these fights. And that's his role here for Sneaky Nick's Assassins. Yeah, the Armlet is always, it's a mixed call up against that AA. Because, once again, it's hard for that AA to make sure that he's going to land that ult on close range, especially if there is a team fight already going on and the Rage is there potentially to protect you. But, at the same time, you're right. Like, the reason you get that Armlet is to give yourself the extra bonus health. If you're not going to get the bonus health, but you're going to take the bonus damage, you're basically helping your opponents kill you.
Yeah. I honestly believe that Brax should not turn on his Armlet until the Ice Blast is on cooldown and did not hit him. If the Ice Blast is used, and then, sure, go ham, get your bonus strength, whatever, but if it's active, with this Aghanim Scepter now up on Ancient Aberration, it's literally going to kill him. It's okay on Wraith King because he has Reincarnate, comes right back in, but Lifestealer, he wants to stay up, and it's just, it gets ugly.
So here's a question that I have. I don't actually know how this works out. If Lifestealer is in the... Oh, actually, Whitebeard is going to come in here with the Force Staff. There's the Stampede, and that's going to probably be the escape for Snaking. The hookshot narrowly going to miss. But yeah, I don't know 100%. I think that if Lifestealer jumps inside of a fellow unit while he is low, if he has that Armlet on and doesn't want to take it off while the AOL is on, he can just jump inside of a friendly unit and then not have to worry about it till that expires. Is that way? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a stop effect, so he can wait it out.
He always has that fallback if he does have the Armlet on. It is always safer. The Moonlight Shadow coming out here on Usher is going to be the stun. Double Edge coming forth, and that is double stun. They use everything in the book. The Rage goes up, the Weave goes down. As SNA comes in, Ursa's going to be back in this fight, though, and he's going to blink in immediately. He doesn't throw down the Stomp, and that Earthshock is going to miss, as is the Sunstrike. This is like watching Charlie Chaplin's Dodo. What is this going on here?
Oh, and Whitebeard, he has Tranquils and Force Staff, was almost in range for Frostbite, and then it gets path blocked by the freaking Forge Spirits. Is Brax going to get away?
He's going to get away here. Fun! What are you doing? Bree was going to get away, and Fun is going to trade himself in. Ursa not even interested. Ursa's just going to run by, and now, there we go. Finally, with the blink, that Lifestealer goes down. This is going to be a tier 2 tower. And we are looking at, I mean, we haven't been checking on the gold because it's been pretty close most of this game, but it's about to hit 7,500 after that tower. So experience still only at about 4,000, 26 minutes, not really that much. But in terms of the ability to control the game, Sneaky Nick's Assassins are dominating.
Yeah. I like the gusto of North American Rejects trying to bring down Ursa, but the fact that he has his BKB, all he has to do is come back from that Aegis and turn the fight completely around. The defensive weave was the only reason that wasn't completely horrible, but Invoker's just a little bit too strong with his spell cast as well as his physical damage, so he's able to make a pretty substantial impact there. It just was a mistake. They shouldn't have gotten so aggressive with so much potential retaliation, and now they're once again on the back foot.
Yeah, it's just so hard to find the opportunities you need when your opponents are always going to have Aegis and you're never going to have vision. They can't get wards up as, oh wow, that time KOTH didn't get away. The leap was there, but he just didn't activate it soon enough.
He's actually on a 2-second cooldown. I have no idea why it would be, but...
Oh, So, leap on 2-second cooldown. Not sure why he had left before. Probably want to save that for those huge blink initiations and the global potential coming out of the Invoker AA combo. But Necronomicon, Warrior, and Archer are out. Their Forward Spirits are out. And the Warrior is going to soak up this tower damage. The Alacrity actually going out on the Necronomicon Warrior. And Ursa is just playing Honor Guard here. Brax is going to take a ton of damage. The Rage is going to go up. And the Moonlight Shadow, as though it does anything, is going to come out. Brax's Rage is going to end out. He's going to jump inside Necronomicon Warrior. He's going to go into IX Mike. IX Mike is going to go down, but trapping, sneaking Ambrax within the cogs. Us is just waiting outside the cogs to do anything as 1437 is going to be frozen in place. He's going to go down to the auto attacks coming out. It's SNA. SNA now trying to back out, but he's going to go down before that poison touch can even land. Sacred Arrow going out after the last remaining hero, but Ush is going to dodge it. A nice wipe. They cost him a tier 3 tower, though. But they did manage to grab themselves 4 heroes. They might be able to get a little bit of map control, maybe put up a ward or 2 on high ground during this little lull in the action.
Yeah, I mean, that's still the best they could ask for. I mean, that movement from staking was incredible. The amount he could get from that stomp and from that double edge was really, really impressive. And on top of that, the Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast, which would have been a really big deal hitting on 2 heroes, instead hit on none because of Nyx Assassin's Impale. He impaled it while it was in the air, while the marker was pretty much right on target, and he couldn't activate it until it was too late. So misses everyone. They get a great turnaround, and although they did lose the tier 3, they feel a lot more confident in their next opportunity.
Now A ult lands globally, and you see Brax just about wrecks himself, turning off the armlet. And he probably won't go down here, but he's going to get very, very low. Yeah. He's going to get lower than 500 for sure, trying to just walk away from that lane. And this is the thing. They were able to take themselves a huge swing inside their base, but that huge swing doesn't mean much when you're pushed in every single lane so that you're unable to get out and capitalize on it with any sort of objectives. They didn't even get any real significant wards up. They put up one. No, that ward was already up. So they got no vision out of it. All they got was the gold swing, and that was not even a 2,500 gold swing. It's like a 2,000 gold swing.
What's Fun doing? What is he doing? Like, he's got creeps on him?
Yeah, he's going to die is what he's doing. He's going to throw up the grave,
is this
and
like
then he's
super
going
space
to try.
created? I don't...
Yeah, well, a 6-foot hole in the ground was created, that's for sure.
Fair enough.
A little bit of space. I'm not sure what Fun was thinking, and look at us. She's just going to run in. Throw down that overcharge, or that enrage rather, along with the overpower. He's going to be hit by the Sacred Arrow. No, he throws up the BKB and just kind of walks out. Just casually sauntering in, taking down that melee barracks even further. The rest of his team is sitting here as he stands glowing. His BKB was wasted as Snaking and 1437 are going to go around for a flanking maneuver along with KOTH, who also leaps over the edge. This is actually a really sneaky method. They're going to move in on Bright here. Fluffenstuff taking the full vendetta. He's also going to be stunned out. He's going to take some auto attacks. 1437 splitting off from the rest of his team as Snaking comes in with the stun. The blade mail does go up, and SNA is going to try to get himself away, but the open wounds is there. Miranda doing some auto attack damage, and that is going to be 2 down. Whitebeard getting himself into trouble on the north side as well. He's going to try to force himself away, but he's just going to get in trouble as IX Mike also gets himself potentially in trouble. But the cogs are going to block the only way to engage as Ush is left alone now, and he is going to go down. What are you doing, Sneaky Nyx?
The throws. Man, that was ugly. Like, the Ancient Apparition actually killed himself on Centaur's Blade Mail plus Nyx's Carapace, and then... I don't know, the follow-through. What was Ush doing without a BKB? Like 30 seconds without the BKB available, and he jumps in. It just doesn't make any sense. This was really overzealous Dota from SNA.
So the Lifestealer did finish up the Skull Basher just before that fight, I believe, and the Mjolnir, as we saw in that fight, was up, as the Manticile's also been finished now. So, Sneaky Nyx Assassins put a lot of effort into making sure that they would have superior push. In theory, they should be able to have pretty solid late game as well. The Dazzle's getting really low somewhere, and he's going to go down to Ancient Apparition. Right down here. He's getting kicked off again here in the bottom lane just by that secret shop. I don't know what his love for that spot is, but it is not. Just stay away from the light, bud. Don't go towards it. I don't know what he's doing down there. He was doing so well in the early game, too. He's like 0-1. He's now 1-5 over the last 10 minutes, probably.
Yeah, just finding the opportunity for solo pickoffs, IX Mike, setting things up, and yeah, what can you do? In this position, Dazzle keeps getting picked off. They get some good farm on their carries, but is it enough? Ursa's pretty big himself. Now 8 seconds still in the BKB, and he is going for that Scythe of Ice. So in a very potent position if they can just kind of close the distance and stay on target. Last time around, they TP'd 2 people back to base to stop the split push, and then suddenly they were in a 3 versus 5 situation. Now we do see, all hell rain down on Centaur, and it actually might be enough. The Rocket Flare misses, but this is still a freaking gigantic debuff, and I think it's enough.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go down. It does look like he's going to go down, and Roshan just comes up as Ursa moves in to scout it. The whole team is going to grab Aegis plus Cheese, and this is what they needed in order to really have a concerted push. North American Rejects cannot afford to give this up, but they don't really have any opportunity. Lifestealer inside of Nixas, and they're scouting, and only now do they realize what's going on as they see the Clockwork moving down. And that is a huge, huge loss for North American Rejects. Well, score off because of it.
Yeah, that is brutal. Of course, Ursa won't be able to do much with this double damage room, but it's still a nice thing to pick up, and they're going to make their move with Korok down in the grave. He does not have buyback, either gold or cooldown available, and although this is kind of a zoning Ice Blast, they're going to be able to push in within these next 50 seconds and easily claim the racks that they've been fighting so darn hard for.
Yeah, Cheese is up on the Invoker as well, so now they have to kill 7 heroes without their Mirana. Hopefully keep their racks. They could very well, this could be their GG moment if they are not extremely coordinated here. Look at his melee racks. It had healed all the way up to full health, and it is down. Now we're going to see the range barracks go down. They're immediately going to rotate toward the mid. SNA not even waiting for that tower to go down. And Ush is actually going to split push the top on his own.
Because the
HP.
HP.
They're going to go all the way to the top. Yeah, because it's so low.
So they forced 2 TPs back. We do have a quick pause coming out. A little bit of latency, unfortunately. But do you think there's any chance in hell for them to take a fight 4v5 against Cheese and Aegis?
Not really. I mean, the Weave with a 5-man stun coming out of Hoof Stomp with a double edge, like if everybody's hooked up. And then maybe if the Ursa kills himself on that Blade Mail coming out of the Centaur War Runner, then maybe they have a shot. But even then, they're going to need to use buybacks, and all they have is Centaur War Runner with the buyback. So, in order to get this, and to make matters worse, oh geez, Invoker has a buyback, so he can use Cheese, die, buyback, boots of teleportation back in. So they have to kill Invoker 3 times in this fight if they want to hold off.
Yeah, really good, reliable gold management from him. So he's just been... Obviously, he's gotten 8 kills and 11 assists, and that certainly helps to it, but the Midas just keeps on stacking up that potential to buy back, so having to deal with so many threats, and your big girl is down. I mean, this is 13.4k net worth Mirana, and she's not going to be able to participate in this at all. So this is kind of their last stand. They've got 2 points in Weave, they got their mech, but the Ancient Apparition's ulti is on cooldown, coming off cooldown, and he's in a position where he can hit 2 or 3 heroes, no problem.
Oh, yeah. And especially since he has that Force Staff, so if he needs to, he can Force Staff himself back out of the base for that a little bit extra AoE. Throw it in. Get probably about a 600 range, 500 range unit AoE on that Ice Blast. That's going to be enough to at least take out the Lifestealer and the Centaur War Runner, or at least knock them down. Centaur War Runner desperately clawing toward that heart, but even if they do manage to push off this attempt, it will almost certainly require buyback from him. So he's not going to have that heart up like he was hoping and praying for, which he's getting so close to. The poor guy. He's been trying for that for so long. He hasn't gotten an item since his Blade Mail. And he's just not able to make it happen. This is almost certainly going to be our GG call. But we want to make sure that North American Rejects have the opportunity to try and defend this with the least latency possible. We appreciate your guys' patience as we do have the reconnect coming out of Prax here.
This position, I mean, the Centaur getting greedy with the recipe was unfortunate already, and that's the fact that he doesn't have that available. It pretty much makes him, I wouldn't say a non-factor in the fights, but he doesn't pack that oomph. He just doesn't really have the prominence that he needs to have. And just in this position here, SNA have so much going for them. I mean, you actually look at the experience graph, and technically North American Rejects are in the lead, but only because of that gigantic throw that we saw about 8 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But
and experience isn't what does it for this team. I mean, North American Rejects, all of their potential late game comes out of farm. Mirana does not carry implicitly because of her skill build. The reason she carries is because you get some farm on her. That's why, as a support, she doesn't end up carrying. And you have the Lifestealer, who's also farm dependent, although his farm is doing very well. And the Centaur War Runner, who, once again, fairly farm dependent at this stage in the game. As you start to move in toward base races and base pushes, he needs to have enough life that other heroes are killing themselves on him. And he's not that high, to be quite honest.
All right, looks like we're ready to rumble. I'll put the 2-3 double damage Ursa. It expires, but Here we go.
All right, Ursa is going to come in here. That tier 3 is getting very low as the engagement on IX Mike is going to open up. Brax is going to move in. His Rage is going to expire just as IX Mike comes in, and that is going to be a very dead Centaur. Now the Ursa moving in on fun and having a good time of it, just tearing them apart like a cat with a mouse. And yep, there goes fun. Brax next going to move in. This one at a time staggering strategy, probably not the strategy they need to use. And Coaches did buy back. He's going to come in and actually get Fluff and stuff out here.
Yeah, Snake King should be able to set up the kill for Fluff, but look at that slowing effect, the last right click from the Leaping Mirana. They don't have detection, though, it would seem, so they have to, unfortunately, let the Invoker go, and that's a big fish there. They lose the melee racks, the bottom lane is pushing in, and although they make a more effective defense than I figured, they don't get the Aegis, they don't get the cheese, and now Ush is able to bring down the Mirana in the mid.
And
Bash twice,
Brax is actually going to get that bash. He's going to move in. He's got the Sanj as well. There's the stun. This is going to be the Aegis pop. But Snot's coming in here trying to turn it around. He throws out the cold snap on Brax. Brax is going to have a little bit of trouble closing the gap because of that tornado, though. The Ursa comes up and he blinks away. He's got that stop now. The Ursa shot goes out. Now he's going to move in on Coaches. They thought they were safe, but they are not. Whitebeard coming in, throwing out that huge freezing field. And 1437 forced to try and run away in Vendetta. But the gem is up on Whitebeard. No, it's not. He must have dropped it there. But either way, 1437 is going to grab that. Yeah, Ursa got the gem. So either way, the gem was there. The vision was out. That's all they needed. They're just going to walk in. There are creeps in the base. They're going to come in and finish the job on this mid lane. Yeah.
The worst case, they have the Necro 3 to finish it off. And there it is. The GG is called out outright. And that is going to be a 1-for-1. The equalizer found for Sneaky Nick's Assassin. That'll take us to a game 3.
Absolutely. Sneaky Nick's Assassin dominating the King of the Hill so far. I think this is their 4th game series. Coming out, really doing very well. They're going to move to a game 3 to see if the brand new North American Rejects can knock them off their throne. My name is Gorgon the Wonder Cow. If you like the casting, please do go over to find the Dota Trash Twitter and go ahead and tweet at them to thank them for the work they're doing. And B, find me at GotCowDota. Say hi. I will certainly respond. And I'm joined by Blaze.
Yep, and I'm over at twitter.com/BlazeCasting.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be right back with game number 3. Don't go anywhere.